You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. He had many enemies. As a gambler, he received a cold shoulder everywhere. But I investigated many of his enemies, such as the staff in casinos and his debtors, but they all had alibis. The most important thing is that the surveillance clips show that he went to swim alone, and he didn't have contact with anyone. So he wasn't killed by a person, Jack said as a statement. How could it be? I don't believe the superstitious stuff that people get killed by ghosts. They said many people drowned in N Park, and the ghosts came out to find scapegoats, but even a ghost couldn't have mangled the body so viciously or taken the blood and the heart. Obviously, it was done by a criminal who had planned it carefully. Since the guy was killed less than 3 hours ago, I think the murderer is still around. I've ordered my men to set up a blockage to trap him. I'm afraid all your efforts will be in vain. What do you mean? Jack, don't be so pessimistic. As a citizen of the city, you must show support to our police. I do support you. I was just stating a fact. What fact? The fact that you can't catch the criminal. Jack, you're doubting my abilities. Noah was displeased that Jack was so certain that he'd fail catching the murderer. No, I meant that the murderer has supernatural abilities and thus won't be caught by the police. Damn. Here you go again. Maybe you watch too many movies like Star Wars. Supernatural beings. How can so many supernatural beings exist in the world? Anyway, you came to see me for something? If you want to have a drink with me, you can see I'm busy with the case. I can't have a night meal with you anyway. Damn, my stomach is still aching after the vomiting. I wanted to forget it. It's nothing. Seeing Noah didn't believe in supernatural beings, Jack didn't want to continue the topic. Are you okay? Seeing Jack's dark expression, Noah asked, I'm fine. Get back to your work. Be careful. I've got to go. Okay. Jack drove back to South Hill Manor and saw a housemaid was wiping the floor in the living room. Sir, you're back. Is she back? Jack asked. Oh, young madam is back. When did she come back? Half an hour ago. I see. He walked upstairs and saw light from the crack under the door of the main bedroom. She was still up. Jack pushed open the door and saw Chloe sitting there in pajamas. Her hair was still damp, as if she had just come out of a shower. Huh? You're back, honey. You went out? Jack asked her. Yeah, I drove your race car. She smiled. Where did you go? You're so concerned about me now? Do I need to report my activities to you? She continued to smile. No, Noah told me someone got killed in N Park. I was afraid for you. What a coincidence. I just came back from N Park. Her smile turned weird. Jack's heart sank. He had suspected all the killings in the city were done by her after James died. Her words confirmed his suspicion. Why did you go there? I went to N to enjoy the view. Heh. The woman gave him an excuse that she herself wouldn't believe. Everyone knew that N Park was close to the slums and had no pretty views, especially in winter. Her answer was obviously a challenge. Or did she think Jack was so stupid that he suspected nothing at all? Jack only smiled. It was an unreadable smile. What do you think of the view? It's very pretty. Good night. Jack walked out and closed the door. Chloe seemed to be used to his attitude. After all, he had been cold to her all the time. Jack walked into his study and sent a snap message to Justin, since it wasn't safe to talk on the phone at home. Jack. Hello? Justin. Yeah? Jack. I need to tell you something. Justin. Shoot. Justin was now used to Jack's coolness and concise way of talking. Jack. The trip to Japan is canceled. Justin. What do you mean? Jack. Pudding and Little Bean won't go with you to Japan. Justin. Why? Jack. Chloe said she was afraid you can't take care of 2 kids and wanted to go with you. I didn't agree. Justin. Chloe mentioned it to me, but I didn't agree. It would be scandalous if people knew about it. Justin still felt apprehended when he remembered the moment when Chloe made this ridiculous proposal to him in the ward. Jack. Yeah, after some deliberation, I decided Pudding and Little Bean won't go with you. Justin. They must be disappointed. I promised them long ago and even booked air tickets and hotels. It's a pity. Jack, it's fine. They'll have lots of opportunities in the future. I'm sorry. Justin, don't be sorry. I know you're in a difficult situation. Chloe is being quite odd lately. Jack, why do you say so? Justin, I can't name it. It's just a feeling. Okay, I can't talk to you now. I'm going out to grab a bite. Since Justin didn't continue the topic, Jack stopped talking about it. Justin said he'd go out for a bite. In fact, he just went out to have a wild party with a group of second-generation rich guys. He had been moody lately, especially after Cece gave birth to a daughter and Rick became a father. Several of his good friends, including Brenton, Victoria, Max, and Avery, were talking about it in moments. Whenever someone mentioned children or that someone gave birth to a baby, Justin would be struck by a sense of guilt. The image of the explosion in Yunnan would keep flashing across his mind. He'd remember that Chloe had lost her baby, which gave him an unspeakable frustration. He knew Chloe and Cece were supposed to give birth to her baby almost at the same time. Now Rick had a daughter, but the relationship between Jack and Chloe was extremely tense. He thought it was his fault even though he knew no one blamed him. Still, he blamed himself. Being single for years, Justin had no one for company except for Anne. After work, if he had no plans, he'd feel bored and lonely. So he returned to his playboy lifestyle. In contrast, Max had become a model young man after marrying Avery. With no real friends to spend time with him in the nightclubs, Justin had begun drinking with the rich guys to relieve his boredom, and understood his employer's mind and waited for him outside the compartment. The rich guys loved to play with young models, so the nightclub manager brought a group of young models into the compartment. These guys didn't dare to pick girls before Justin did. Mr. Cooper, you pick first. To show their respect for Justin, they asked him to pick a girl first. Justin lounged on the sofa and glanced at the girls with narrowed eyes. As he was about to point at a random girl to get it over with, the door opened. President Cooper, wearing sportswear and a black MLB cap, Melody barged in, looking quite dashing. The girl was beautiful and looked good in any clothes, but it was still weird to enter a nightclub dressed in a sports suit. The people in the compartment were stupefied. Isn't she Melody? Yeah, she's Imperial Star's rising star. She's very pretty without makeup. Yeah, look how smooth her hands are. Haha. She's really pretty. Among all the entertainment companies, Imperial Star has the most beautiful female performers. I like Kira, who looks as gentle as water. I like Gianna's type, pretty and cold. She'd be hot in bed. Haha. Unlike you guys, I like Yaru, the leader of trainees. She's not so popular, but her figure is gorgeous with a large bosom. I heard she always massages to keep her melons in shape. Her melons must feel good to handle. Such dirty talk was common in this place. After all, these second-generation rich guys were only playboys. For them, Melody's arrival was the highlight of the night. Ignoring them, Melody walked toward Justin. President Cooper. What are you doing here? Justin was puzzled. I was afraid you'd feel awkward without female company. I'm here to keep your company. Before he could reply, Melody sat down next to him. She was so close to him that everyone else had no doubts of their relationship. The other guys said jokingly, Mr. Cooper, since you've got a beautiful girl by your side, we'll pick our girls. Then they picked several young models with gorgeous figures and began to drink and sing. Who told you to come here? Justin was curious how Melody knew he was here. He didn't send her a snap message about his whereabouts. Before she could reply, he continued, And told you, right? No, paparazzi gossiped about your whereabouts online, so I came. Paparazzi? Justin was speechless. President Cooper, if you want to keep your good reputation, you'd better play along with me. After all, it's no big deal to be seen with a performer in your company. It's totally another thing if you're seen playing with nightclub girls. You're too old to play with this stuff, okay? Too old. Justin touched his forehead and had the urge to hit her for saying he was old. What game are you playing, Melody? I'm not playing games. I'm here to rescue you, out of this mess. Thank you, but I don't need you to rescue me. You have shooting tomorrow, right? Go. Justin tried to drive her away, Not wanting a girl as clean as Melody to stay in the nightclub, he was trying to protect her subconsciously. "I'll go if you go. I'll stay if you stay." Melody was determined. "You are damned stubborn," Justin chuckled in exasperation. "President Cooper, if you want to play the womanizer, you have to play in style. I truly despise your poor taste. Come on, when did I play with girls? Did you see it?" Justin was bitter inside. "How can you deny it? If I didn't arrive in time, you'd have picked one." With a pout, she pointed at those hot young models. "Hush, keep your voice down." Justin felt resigned. "Am I right?" Yeah, you're always right." Justin didn't want to argue with her. "How long are you going to stay here? If you want to drink, I'll drink with you. If you want to sing, I'll sing with you." Then she grabbed the microphone from a guy's hand and yelled, "Handsome, I'm going to sing a song." "No problem, Miss Melody. What song do you like to sing?" The most dashing ethnic style. The moment she said the name of the song, everyone looked stunned. Justin almost buried his head in the sofa. Before she began singing, Justin caught her arm and pulled her out. "I'm sorry, guys. I've got to go. Have a good time." When they were in the corridor, Melody chuckled and said, "Why are we leaving? I haven't sung yet." "Look at your smug face. It's ugly. Fine. I admit defeat. Stop shocking those guys. You're a rising star and an idol with lots of fans. You must pay attention to maintain your image." "The most dashing ethnic style? Why didn't you sing Count Ducks?" "I want to. If you like, I'll sing it for you." "Enough is enough. Now go home." Knowing Melody was here to mess with him, he tried to make her leave. "No, I won't go unless you go home too. I'll go home." "I don't believe you. I'll go to your house with you and leave after you're asleep." "Melody, what's wrong with you? Are you my mother?" Justin didn't know if he should cry or laugh. "I don't mind if you call me Mom, but I'm sure Aunt Cooper will be sad. After all, it was she who raised you." Justin didn't know what to say. Melody's tongue was very sharp, but different from Chloe's cutting words. Her retorts were witty and funny, making it impossible for him to be angry with her. "Besides, I'm only 25 and can't have a son as old as you are." Melody continued to tease him. "Stop messing with me. Let's go." Justin didn't want people to see them bicker here, so he pulled her out of the nightclub. Anne followed them out. Finally, Justin gave in to Melody and let Anne drive them back to his house. It was 11:30 p.m. when they arrived at his house. "Okay, I'm home now. You can go." "No, you might go back to that dirty place after I leave." "Dirty place?" Justin was exasperated to hear her call the nightclub a dirty place. It showed how much she disliked such places. "What, am I wrong? And what do you think?" Melody asked Anne to be the judge. And didn't want to offend either of them. Finally, he said, "President Cooper, the less we visit those places, the better." "Ha! You have to consider your health." "Damn! Whose side are you on?" Justin was angry that Mr. Anne betrayed him and took Melody's side. "See, Justin, people have sharp eyes." Okay, you're right. I'll go to sleep now." "Go ahead." "Are you going to supervise it?" Justin was surprised. "Uh-huh. But I sleep naked." "What a coincidence. Me too. Do you want me to join you?" Melody asked him with a smirk. "Fack. I admit defeat. You're the first person I have admitted defeat to in years. Melody, you're damned good." Justin was rendered speechless by her invitation of sleeping naked together. He wasn't so brazen that he'd exchange dirty jokes with her. He wondered if he was taken advantage of by her with words, and laughed so hard that his belly hurt. In a huff, Justin tossed his jacket onto the floor on the ground floor and went upstairs. Anne turned his head and gave Melody a thumbs up. "Melody, you're awesome." "Thank you." Half an hour later, Anne went upstairs to Justin's room with hangover medication and found he was already asleep. Melody finally stood up and said, "Then I'll go." "I'll drive you." "No, it's late. You must be sleepy. I'll book a taxi with an app." "No, it's late. It's not safe." "I'll be fine. It's not so bad. The app has the driver's authentic information, and I'll book a luxurious car which is relatively safer. Go to bed now." Like Anne, she came from an ordinary family and knew Anne didn't have it easy. The trip from the Imperial Star dorm to Justin's house and back was about 40 kilometers, and it would be tiring to drive her at such a late hour. So she declined Anne's offer to drive her back and walked out of the house. Big Melody, you went there just to get President Cooper back home, right? Yeah. I don't want him to give up on himself by living such a wasteful life. I know he's been sad after Sister Chloe lost her baby and can't find a way to vent his frustration. I know it all. Yeah, the boss doesn't have it easy. I just hope he can get over it. Justin's a great guy and deserves a better life. Melody smiled warmly and wished his boss could love this girl. She was such a nice person. But his boss had his own mind and didn't always follow his advice. Big Melody, you're a great girl. Keep it up. You'll become a superstar. I don't want to be a superstar. I only want to make lots of money. Ha ha. The only way to make me forget my worries is making lots of money. Melody gave him a V with her fingers and got into the car she had booked online. To ensure her safety, Anne memorized the plate number and told her to send him a message after she got back to her dorm room. Lots of stories were happening in the world. In some stories, you love her, and she loves you back. In some stories, you love her, but she doesn't know it. In some stories, you love her, and she knows it but doesn't love you back. Melody belonged to the group that, I love you and know you love someone else, but still, I continue loving you. The sky was very dark that night, but Melody was in a great mood that she had managed to drag Justin from the nightclub. Justin, I'll guard you, always guard you until the day that we disappear from this world. Meanwhile, Riker was staying in Fiona's headquarters on the island. The place was deathly silent. Few people knew that the professor was here. They only knew that their new boss, Riker, hadn't taken a single order after he took over the Legion. He had been spending huge funds to search for Fiona. All the people who had been suspicious of his motives were all convinced that no one in the world wanted to find Fiona as much as Riker. He was now sitting in Fiona's office, touching the ring on his finger. It's been so long. Fiona, where are you? Are you being imprisoned or have you lost memories and can't come back? Riker was extremely anxious. Mr. Riker, one of the subordinates reported. Riker looked up. A phone call from Russia? Decline it. But, the caller said. The man paused in apprehension as he saw Riker's cold expression. But the caller said he's your father, the man finished cautiously. Riker still refused to answer the call. Ever since he declared that he was cutting himself off from his father and that he would never inherit the position of the family chief, he had made the decision that he'd never return to Russia. He didn't care about the position of the chief of the largest Chinese mafia and biggest arms dealer in Russia. Without Fiona, what use did he have for money, power, and the position of family chief? All these things couldn't get Fiona back. After the subordinate was gone, the door opened again. I told you I don't take any calls from Russia. I don't want to have any connection with them. Riker's words were chilly enough to make people shiver. Riker, your father is doing it for your sake. A benign voice came. Riker looked up and then stood up immediately with respect. Uncle Wagner. Don't blame your father. He has his own concerns in his position. I don't understand him just like he never understands me. I don't blame him, but I don't want to listen to him either. Riker was stubborn. He always thinks Fiona caused all this trouble. Without Fiona, you'd not... Before Professor Wagner could finish, Riker interrupted. He's wrong. Uncle Wagner, even without Fiona, I'd still leave him. My father's position doesn't suit me. It's not what I want. Professor Wagner nodded. He appreciated Riker's determination. Uncle Wagner, you locked yourself in your room for 2 days. Have you found any important clues? Riker put his last hope on Professor Wagner, who was an existence that could do anything in their eyes. Yeah, I want to try looking into this last idea, Professor Wagner nodded. What is it? Riker asked eagerly. I want to go to the place I first met Lynn and see if she's there. Where did you and Dr. Lynn meet for the first time? Riker knew very little about Lynn since Fiona almost never mentioned her. Bali in Indonesia. Professor Wagner smiled mildly. He looked resigned. If Dr. Lynn was still alive but refused to see him, what did it mean? It meant Professor Wagner had no position in Dr. Lynn's heart. It would be the heaviest blow to Professor Wagner. Uncle Wagner, you two met in Bali? Riker was surprised. Fiona had never mentioned her parents' past. Maybe even she didn't know these things. Professor Wagner nodded. Yeah, I went there to collect rock samples from an active volcano called Gunung Agung in Bali. Lynn was there doing a geological survey. At that time, Bali wasn't a famous tourist resort yet, and there were few foreigners in that place. As the only two countries' people, we were attracted to each other quite quickly. Everything began from that encounter. If you want to go there again, I'll send bodyguards to go with you. Professor Wagner waved his hand. It's not necessary. I'll revisit that place by myself. I won't be in danger. Lynn won't kill me. I didn't mean Dr. Lynn. I'm afraid legend might... Hearing Riker's words, Professor Wagner chuckled. Riker, don't worry. Not to mention legend, even the forces that have wanted to catch me in the past years won't appear. Do you think they're not afraid of Doomsday Death God? Doomsday Death God? Riker was surprised. Then he remembered Jack and Rick had found out that Zoe's patron, Mr. Y, came from Doomsday Death God. After Zoe and Mr. Y died, no one mentioned this mysterious and scary organization again. But the Doomsday Death God had been in the world for years and wouldn't vanish after Mr. Y's death. After all, Mr. Y was only a minion of the organization. Hearing Professor Wagner mention Doomsday Death God, Riker fell deep in thought. He knew the professor would never bring up the rumor if he didn't believe it. Was it possible? Riker, I have a feeling that Doomsday Death God is related to Lynn. It might be Lynn's organization. Are you sure? Riker was stunned. Fiona's mother, Professor Wagner's wife, the medical genius and the legendary #1 Oriental beauty who had a face that could charm any guy, was related to the scary Doomsday Death God? She was the organization's creator? Riker was stunned by the information. More accurately, he was caught by surprise. I can't say more about it. It's just a feeling. With people from the Doomsday Death God moving around, even the FBI have to stay away from them, not to mention Legend and his men. Uncle Wagner, if Dr. Lynn is truly related to that organization, you'll be in great danger. I should send more people to protect you. Forget it. No matter how many bodyguards you send, it will achieve nothing but alerting them. Don't worry. If I meet Lynn, she won't kill me. Professor Wagner smiled, but it was a smile full of helplessness. Fiona's disappearance and Chloe's abortion after the explosion were fatal blows to him. Finally, he left the island alone mysteriously. Putting on a human skin mask and another man's fingerprints, he passed the customs successfully and took a flight toward Bali, Indonesia. It was warm all year around in Bali, and the year was divided into a wet season and a dry season. From October to March, it was always raining in Bali. When the professor walked out of the airport, the island was having a thunder shower. To keep his privacy, he didn't stay in a starred hotel on the beach. He chose to stay in a private villa near Ubud. After more than 20 years, Professor Wagner came to Bali for the second time. He had a feeling that important people and things were waiting for him. On the next morning, Professor Wagner got up early. After a simple breakfast, he drove to Tirtha Empul, where he had met Lynn for the first time. The people in Bali were Buddhists, and Tirtha Empul was the temple for local people to worship the Buddha. Many rich people even built temples in their own yards, hoping for the Buddha's protection. Tirtha Empul was the most famous temple in Bali. Many tourists came here to wash their face and hair with the holy water in the temple, hoping it would bring them luck. After Bali became a destination for international tourists, the place was swarmed by lots of tourists each day. Glancing around at the tour buses and swarming tourists, Professor Wagner had complicated feelings inside. Wearing a cap and carrying a backpack, he entered Tirtha Empul like an ordinary tourist. The familiar and strange scenes brought memories back to his mind. He wondered if his conjecture was right. There was no evidence to prove that Lynn was still alive or had been resurrected. He had thought for days and came up with hundreds of possibilities, but ruled them out one by one because he believed that Lynn still loved him. Even if she deceived him and kept secrets from him, she must have her reasons. He had a strong feeling that he'd see Lynn again in this place. Looking at the familiar holy water well in Tirtha Empul, he took out his cell phone to take a picture of it, but a group of tourists barged in and interrupted him. A man bumped Professor Wagner's cell phone from his hand and didn't even apologize. Calmly, Professor Wagner bent to pick up the cell phone, but a pair of beautiful hands beat him and picked up the cell phone for him, handing it to him. "Thank you," Professor Wagner said in English. You're welcome. Hearing the woman's voice, Professor Wagner's whole body froze. His hand holding the cell phone trembled slightly. He looked up slowly, and then his heart almost stopped. Without warning, Lynn just stood before him, alive. Professor Wagner gasped. He tried to say something but was too emotional to get words out. Crystal tears welled up in his eyes. The man, over 50 years now, looked like a child who was struck dumb by excitement. He had imagined countless scenarios in which Lynn woke up and they met again. But none of those scenarios was like this one. He had thought he'd wait for a long time before Lynn came, but to his surprise, he met her in Tirtha Empel on the first day after his arrival. He felt as if he was dreaming. Yeah. After a long while, Professor Wagner forced the word out. He found his voice sounded strange, as if it didn't belong to him. He felt dizzy. Old Wagner, long time no see. Lynn smiled sweetly. Her smile was as charming as before. Wearing a local long dress, she had a silk band around her waist. With her long hair draping to her waist, she had a deep blue water-drop-shaped decorator on her forehead. It was super beautiful. Her voice and looks hadn't changed a bit, as if time had no effect on her. Lynn still looked young and beautiful, but the professor's hair had gone white. Yeah, long time no see. We truly haven't seen each other for many years. A tear slid down Professor Wagner's cheek. Lynn raised her hand and wiped the tear from his face. Don't cry. I'm back. Hearing the words, I'm back, Professor Wagner's heart melted. Ignoring everything around them, he pulled Lynn into his arms. They met each other for the first time here more than 20 years ago. Today, they met each other again in the same place. Professor Wagner had only one thought in his mind. So long as Lynn was alive, nothing else matters. He just didn't care. Professor Wagner then got into Lynn's car. She took him into a private property in a very remote area. This property was so big that it looked like a plantation. With birds singing and flowers blooming, this place looked as grand as a palace. This is... Professor Wagner was curious. This is my property. I bought it. Without a word, Professor Wagner followed her into the beautiful villa and sat down on the sofa in the living room. A housemaid brought in fruits and coconut juice and placed them on the tea table. Professor Wagner seemed to have no interest in the surroundings. He just stared at Lynn's familiar face with strong emotions inside. Yeah, you still look young. I can't believe it. Professor Wagner was sure that Lynn's youthful face wasn't a result of injections or plastic surgeries. Her youthful face looked natural, not like the result of maintenance. Lynn smiled but didn't reply. Instead, she asked, Old Wagner, how are you doing these years? Not good. I've been running and hiding from my enemies. Lynn didn't speak. Professor Wagner asked, How about you? When did you wake up? Why didn't you come and see me? Hearing his words, Lynn's eyes turned unreadable. She reached out her hand and placed it on the back of his hand. Her hand wasn't warm, but chilly. Old Wagner, I don't know how to explain. Anyway, I can't explain it with a few words. It's fine. Tell me slowly. We have time. Professor Wagner turned his hand and held her hand. It's so good to see you again. Yeah, I thought I'd never see you again for the rest of my life because I am useless and can't make a drug to resurrect you. Professor Wagner was still stunned. See? I'm standing before you sound and alive, right? Lynn smiled. Yeah, I feel like I'm dreaming. I still can't believe it. Old Wagner, have some drink and relax. We'll talk slowly. I'm afraid you'll disappear again. Professor Wagner held Lynn's hand tightly and wouldn't let her go. I won't disappear. Don't worry. Drink some coconut juice. I remember this is your favorite drink. I made it from fresh coconuts. It tastes good. She picked up the glass and sipped the juice before handing it to Professor Wagner. She seemed to be showing him that it had no poison in it. Professor Wagner took the glass. Before he drank, he asked a question, catching her by surprise. Lynn, Fiona is in your hands, right? Hearing Professor Wagner's words, Lynn's expression became even more unreadable. Old Wagner, drink it. I'll tell you everything you want to know slowly. I swear. Hearing Lynn's promise and seeing her earnest look, Professor Wagner finally drained the coconut juice which he knew was drugged. The juice was tasty. It was the kind that he liked. But he knew Lynn had put drugs in it. But it didn't matter. No matter what Lynn wanted to do, he just didn't care. After drinking the coconut juice, the professor felt dizzy. Was it good? Yeah. Then he dropped to the sofa, unconscious. Master, the professor is so easy to handle. Then we have nothing to fear. One of her subordinates walked over smugly. You know nothing. He knew I put drugs in it, but he still drank it. Lynn's expression was still unreadable. No one knew what she was thinking. Yes, Master. What shall we do next? Take him to the plane and go back. Yes. Chloe didn't know that Professor Lynn had taken Professor Wagner. Locked in her room, she was restless and anxious. The baby still hadn't been born, even though the date of delivery had long passed. Even she, an experienced obstetrician, couldn't understand it. She paced in her room restlessly. She grabbed Messiah's arm when the latter delivered lunch to her. What's wrong, Miss Chloe? Messiah, I want to see her, Lynn. The master is out. She's not here. She's not here? No. Then, can I see Fiona? Hearing this request, Messiah fell silent. From her talk with Lynn, Chloe had known that Fiona was born from Lynn's clone, and that she was also imprisoned in this place. Messiah, please, I'm worried about her. I want to see Fiona. I'll feel less worried if I can see her, or I'll feel unsettled with all kinds of wild thoughts. Hearing her words, Messiah finally nodded. Exhilarated, Chloe followed Messiah through one white room after another in this big maze. Finally, they entered a secret chamber. In the white room was also a crystal coffin. Fiona was lying in there quietly. Fiona. Chloe strode over but was stopped by a glass wall. Fiona, what's wrong with you? Chloe's tears gushed out. Miss Chloe, calm down. You're pregnant. Messiah tried to calm her down. Messiah, is Fiona dead? Why is she in the coffin? She remembered Andrew's clone lying in a crystal coffin after he was blown into pieces, and he could be brought back to life with a word from Lynn. She didn't know if she should feel scared or sad. Sister Chloe, don't work yourself up. Miss Fiona isn't dead. She is in hibernation. Hibernation? Chloe was confused. Yeah. In Yunnan, Miss Fiona was seriously wounded in a close-range fight with Miss Layla, and then was transported back here together with you. Then the master froze her in hibernation mode. She's safe. But why did Lynn freeze her? Chloe was angry. Miss Chloe, you know Miss Fiona isn't the master's daughter. She's the clone's daughter, Messiah explained. But she's also my dad's daughter. Why did Lynn treat her in this way? Chloe was furious. I don't know the reason. I just follow the master's orders. Messiah, open the glass wall. I want to see Fiona. I'm sorry, Miss Chloe, but I don't have the rights. Messiah, please. I truly love Fiona. I can't let anything happen to her. Even though she knew she and Fiona had different mothers, she still loved Fiona and even envied her for having the clone as a mother. The clone wasn't naturally born, but she was kind-hearted. Chloe was born from the original Lynn, but this Lynn was evil. Miss Chloe, it's useless to beg me. It's not that I don't want you to see your sister, but that the password of Miss Fiona's crystal coffin is the master's retina. I can't open it. If I tried to open it, the master will cut me into pieces. From Messiah's words, Chloe knew how evil Lynn was. Is Fiona okay? Will she wake up? Chloe asked worriedly. Yes, Miss Fiona is seriously wounded, but the master can heal her. You know, half of Miss Fiona's genes came from the clone, so she can heal no matter how serious the wounds are. I can assure you of that. Please don't worry. During the period while she was in this place, Chloe began to know that Messiah was a very loyal servant. She worked for Lynn, but had a kinder heart than Lynn. Hearing Messiah's words, Chloe felt much better knowing Fiona was safe. Through the glass, she looked at Fiona, who was lying in the crystal coffin like a sleeping beauty. Even in deep sleep, she was stunningly beautiful. After the Yunnan incident, not only her but Fiona was brought here. What was happening out there? What about Fiona's subordinates? Were they in chaos without their leader? How about Riker, who loved Fiona deeply? He must be extremely worried about Fiona after she disappeared. All kinds of thoughts flashed across Chloe's mind. Miss Chloe, it's cold here. You're pregnant and can't stay here for long. Let's go back, okay? Messiah said. Finally, Chloe nodded and walked out of the secret chamber with Messiah. Messiah, why is Layla targeting my husband? Chloe had been wanting to ask this question, but knew it was better to ask Messiah than Lynn because she didn't believe Lynn would tell her the truth. After a few seconds of silence, Messiah replied, "Miss Layla met your husband in the States a few years ago." A few years ago? With narrowed eyes, Chloe realized that it must have happened during the 4 years when Jack was in the States, but he had never mentioned it to her. "Miss Chloe, don't forget that Miss Layla was created with your genes. She has your looks and all your memories." Hearing Messiah's words, Chloe understood suddenly. "So Layla, just like me, likes Jack?" "You can say so. After all, you two share so many memories. She must have feelings for him. But different from you, Miss Layla always remembers her identity, and I don't think she loves Mr. Dawson as deeply as you do." "What if Layla failed her mission? Would she kill Jack?" Chloe asked Messiah worriedly. "It will be the master's decision. I can't say." Messiah didn't answer Chloe's question, but Chloe knew the danger was there. Lynn's mind worked differently from ordinary people, and Layla did things cruelly. Returning to her room, Chloe felt restless. Touching her big belly, she murmured to the baby even though she knew he might not hear her. "Son, what should Mommy do now? I'm so worried about your daddy, your sisters, and your auntie. What should I do to save them?" For the first time in her life, Chloe felt helpless despite her high intelligence. In the city, Jack drove the twins to the airport in secret. He didn't tell the others in the family that the twins would go on a vacation with Avery and Max. He especially didn't want that woman to know it. Max and Avery arrived at the airport with suitcases. 4 of Jack's best bodyguards accompanied them. From a distance, they saw Jack arrive with the 2 little girls. "Brother, this way." Avery waved at them. "Wow, Auntie, you look so pretty today." Little Bean ran over to them and began flattering her. "Isn't your auntie beautiful every day?" Avery asked with a chuckle. "I meant you're beautiful every day, but today you're especially beautiful. Auntie, you look so sexy in jeans. I mean it." "My niece is such a charmer. You have such a glib tongue." Avery was in a great mood, taking this trip as an ordinary travel with her nieces, since her brother had no time to take care of them. She didn't know that her brother was planning to handle some tricky business at home. "Now take the security check and wait for your flight there. It's almost time." Jack was reluctant to send his daughters away, but the tricky situation left him with no other options. If the twins stayed at home, he was afraid that psycho woman might harm them. He didn't like to part with the twins, but it was the best way to protect them. "Daddy, I want to go to the washroom," Pudding said suddenly. "There are washrooms after the security check. I'll go with you." Avery didn't know Pudding's intention. Pudding shook her head. "Daddy, you take me. I want to talk to you too." "Okay." Jack knew Pudding was a thoughtful girl, and she must have something to tell him. Watching Jack take Pudding away in a secretive way, Max was puzzled. "I wonder what the little adult is up to." "Oh, I guess my sister wants to ask my daddy to manage her shares for her. After all, she'd feel uncomfortable if she couldn't manage her shares for even 1 day," Little Bean explained. "Right. I heard your sister is a very rich girl now. Is it true?" Max asked Little Bean. "She's not only rich, my sister is a billionaire now." "She's richer than I am," Avery chuckled. "Yeah, you guys are all magnates. I'm the only poor one among you, but it doesn't matter. I'll eat and drink without charge and spend your money. Haha, we're a family, right?" Little Bean smiled brazenly. "Little Bean, you're really good. You're awesome. I admire your brazenness." Max laughed so hard that tears came out of his eyes. Little Bean replied smugly, "There's a trending saying online. The 3 factors leading to success are persistence, brazenness, and persistence on brazenness." "Who told you this nonsense?" Avery didn't know if she should laugh or cry. "Netizens. They are geniuses. After all, the best hide in the grassroots." Like Pudding, Little Bean was also dressed in a long red goose-down coat, black leather shoes, and a black hat. The onlookers would confuse the 2 sisters, but Avery and Max could tell them apart. Meanwhile, near the washroom, Pudding stopped because going to the washroom was just an excuse. "Daddy." "Baby, I know you want to talk to me." Jack squatted down and touched her cheek. "Is it safe to talk here?" "Yes, it is." Pretending to smoothen his collar, Jack activated the anti-bugging device on him. He didn't want anyone to hear his talk with Pudding. "Daddy, my sister and I will be away from home for 1 month." "Yes. We've never been away from you for so long. We'll miss you so much." "Daddy will miss you too. We'll video chat each day. Send me messages about the places you go and the good food and fun stuff to me. But remember, when you post on Moments, don't put on your locations. For example, don't post your pictures at Eiffel Tower in Paris until your aunt takes you to Switzerland. Don't post your pictures in Switzerland until you're in the States, etc." Jack told Pudding patiently. Pudding nodded. "I got it, Daddy. Lots of bad guys want to catch us, so we can't reveal our whereabouts." "Yeah. Keep low and stay alert. Always stay with your aunt and the bodyguards. Don't go out after dark." "I'll keep it in mind." Then she began operating on her cell phone. "I'll give you my password to my stock account. Daddy, keep an eye on it for me and have some random transactions each day just to keep the account active." "No problem. Daddy will make sure you make money." Jack looked at little Pudding dotingly, feeling proud of his adorable daughter. "Daddy, I want to talk to you about the most important thing on my mind." "What is it?" Pudding leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Watch out for Mommy." Jack's expression changed slightly. "Pudding, how did you know about that?" "Daddy, don't you think Mommy is acting weirdly after she came back from Yunnan?" Pudding asked. "I do." "Yeah. Except for her face and voice, she has no resemblance of my mommy. So, I think there's something fishy going on. I tried to tell you about it several times at home, but you stopped me with your eyes, making me fear that our home is bugged and it's dangerous for me to speak out loud. But I know you are sending us away for a reason. While we're gone, you and my grandparents must face that weird woman at home. You must be careful, Daddy." Pudding patted Jack on the shoulder and instructed him like a little adult. Instantly, Jack's eyes turned moist. "Pudding, I'm so proud to have you as my daughter," Jack said, choking with his emotions. After all, Pudding was not 4 years old yet, but she didn't sound like a kid of 4 years at all. "I'm proud to have you as my daddy, Mr. Old Dawson. In the following month, I hope you will handle everything with success, and when Little Bean and I come back, all the bad things will be in the past. Our family of 4 will return to our previous state." At last, Pudding mimicked Little Bean's tone and said these words to her daddy. Jack held back his tears and smiled. "I will. I'll make sure you have an awesome mommy and daddy when you return home. Promise Daddy you'll take good care of yourself." "It's a deal." Pudding planted a gentle kiss on Jack's cheek. She knew her daddy had done a lot for her, her sister, and this family. As kids, they didn't understand many things about the adults' world, but for Pudding and Little Bean, Jack was the best daddy, even though he had been absent from their life for a long time. This man loved them as dearly as his life and had been making up his lost time as best as he could. He shouldered a lot of burden for his beloved people. Finally, Jack walked back with Pudding in his arms, reluctant to see them go. Seeing her daddy come back with her sister in his arms, Little Bean was jealous. "Damn, that scheming Dina played coy with Daddy behind my back. She even begged him to hold her. Shame on her." She threw away Avery's hand, walked over to Jack's side, and looked up at him with a pitiable expression. "Mr. Old Dawson, we're both your daughters. Why do you hold only her? I want you to hold me too." "Fine, I'll hold you too." With a smile, Jack put down Pudding and picked up Little Bean. "Mr. Old Dawson, we're going out to have fun." "Yeah, have a good time." "You must take care of yourself while we're away. I see you're very busy lately and always work late in the study. As the president of your company, you don't have to work so hard. You see, the company presidents in the online novels do nothing but enjoy food, pursue the main female character, and have children. You must learn from them and don't work so hard, okay?" Hearing Little Bean's funny speech, Jack laughed out loud. With perfect facial features, Jack was a great view to look at when he was cool and aloof, but when he smiled, he could melt the hearts of millions of women. If one was lucky enough to see his laugh, you'd feel as if you were in a warm spring day with flowers blooming around you. Little Bean reached out her chubby little hand and pinched her daddy's cheek. "Look, Mr. Old Dawson, you're so handsome when you laugh. You're way more handsome than those young performers. You must laugh more. Okay. Little Bean, hurry up. We've got to go or we'll miss the flight, Avery urged. What's the hurry? We're super VIPs and have the green channel for the first class, right? Even if we were late, you guys are super rich and can afford to have a charter flight. What are you worried about? Hearing Little Bean's words, everyone laughed. Little girl, you're so young but so extravagant. I wonder how Ethan can afford you after he becomes a young police officer. Do you want him to embezzle money from his office? Haha, Max teased her. Don't pull my leg. Ethan doesn't need to embezzle anything. I did the calculations. When Ethan and I get married, we'll have plenty of money. We'll have interest from our savings in the bank, the dowry from Mommy and Daddy, and red pocket money from everyone else. There's no pressure at all. You've planned out everything, haven't you? Avery leaned against Max's chest, unable to control her laughter. Once again, Little Bean was a step closer to being a comedian. I thought you would say that you'll marry someone richer than Ethan, Pudding said. Come on, I'm not a player, all right, Little Bean huffed. Guys, calm down. We still need to go through security. Then, the four of them headed towards the security checkpoint as 4 bodyguards pushed their luggage. Jack, don't worry. I'll take care of the 3 of them. I know how much these women mean to you, Max laughed. Thank you, Jack replied with a serious face. After all, he rarely made jokes. Jack, you should go home. The twins will be fine with us. Be careful and have fun. Don't worry. With the $10 million you gave us, we'll have the time of our lives. Avery waved the black card in her hand. Avery stood outside the security checkpoint until the 4 of them disappeared from his sight. After passing through security, Pudding turned around to see if Jack was still there. However, there were too many people in front of her. When Max's eyes landed on Pudding, he realized that she was crying. What's wrong, Pudding? Why are you crying? You don't want to leave. He immediately took out some tissue and wiped the tears of Pudding's face. He thought the twins would be ecstatic to go on a trip. It's hard being daddy, that's all, Pudding said meaningfully. Upon hearing this, something in Max's heart wavered. Pudding, your daddy is a superhero. He can do anything. So we need to have faith in him, okay? Pudding nodded as she wiped away the tears in her eyes. Soon, to Jack's relief, Avery, Max, and the twins finally left the city. Now he could go on to do more important things. Imperial Star Headquarters. After a morning of auditions, Justin and the directors were feeling tired. They made reservations and were about to head to lunch when they bumped into Kira, whom they hadn't seen in a while. She was still beautiful and looked incredibly elegant in her long beige sheepskin jacket and black hat. Kira had been avoiding Justin ever since the incident at Chloe's birthday party. She even stopped liking Justin's posts and messaging him from time to time, so it had been a while since Justin last talked to her. President Cooper. You're back? Justin asked with a hint of awkwardness. The directors, who were standing beside Justin, immediately left knowingly, giving a chance for the 2 of them to talk. This only made things even more awkward. Yes, Cece just gave birth. I'm here to see her and her baby. Oh, I heard. She had a baby girl, right? Congratulations. Thank you. How long are you here for? Justin hated the feeling of finding something to talk about when there wasn't anything to say. President Cooper, I actually came here to talk to you about that. I was wondering if I could come back, Kira said, her voice soft and gentle. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.